I think the first quarter 2017 GDP growth is actually 6.9%. It is actually the highest since I think September 2015. China, as you know, is already the second largest economy by total GDP in the world. So it is very difficult to continue to enjoy such a huge growth for such a large size economy comparing to like 10 years ago. But you look at some areas of China, for example, the northeastern part of China, they are suffering the most. Some of the areas have no growth or negative growth. I think that's because all these areas are undergoing a major structural reform from a manufacturing economy to a service-related or service-orientated economy. And that takes time, and that's very painful as well because there's a process involved. But if you look at the new tier 1 cities, what I call Hangzhou and Shenzhen, where obviously you see technology conglomerates are created, they generate a lot of employments, and new technologies are being implemented in the society. Those areas are enjoying massive growth. So overall, even after you average out the GDP figures, you're still getting a 6.9%, which obviously is better than many parts of the world. And to that, I think China is still in a very healthy economic condition. Yes, I think so, because starting from like 12 years ago when we first invested in China, we have to deal with so many different departments. When you're trying to, as a foreign funds, we need to get special vehicles set up, and we need to look into the conversion issues, the forex issues, and also when we exit, we need to look at the tax issues, and there we need to deal with the governments. Luckily, we have a very good team, and throughout the past 12 years, we also have, through experiences and our deals in China, we have accumulated a lot of experiences and local contacts, so that our operation becomes more efficient as time goes on. I think, first of all, I think China market, we need to look at the government direction. So we need to closely monitor what the government wants. It is a huge economy, and the government is having a very tough task to actually fine-tuning these policies and regulations. So that's the reason why a lot of people think that, well, the policy keep changing. But obviously we can understand, we can appreciate why, because in order to manage such a big economy, it's not easy. So following the government direction is one very key important strategy. The other is actually need to look at the demand. Where's the demand coming from? I think right now we see strong demand coming from the middle class. In the past 30 years, China has successfully created a huge group of middle class. This new middle class have new spending power, and they are more prone to new technologies, and they are looking for quality of life, to improve the quality of life as well. So that's the reason why, if you look at our investment portfolio, we are actually following that particular trend, such as, for example, we have invested in outlet mall, we invested in high-end residential service apartment, we also have co-working space, co-living space. These are all the new type of form of real estate operation and asset class, where obviously they're all deriving from the new demand from the middle class and the novel, rich, and newly well-educated middle class population in China. I think in China, in order to implement a successful business plan, we need a strong execution capability. So we have actually decided to build up a very strong asset management team since day one when we decided to invest in China. Most of our team members are born in China and educated overseas and worked in overseas market. So they all have international experiences and vision, but with a very localized approach. At the same time, most importantly, maintaining the highest international standard of ethics and business integrity. That obviously helps us when we deal with our investors. So obviously the expectation is that we need to mobilize efficiently in the local market, as well as maintaining the sort of business ethics and integrity that are required in the international market. Well, first of all, I think we are really not heavily involved in the residential development sector. And the other areas that, in fact, this would be actually be beneficial to one of our strategy is actually more on a letting market. So we would actually look into a market where a conversion of maybe hotels and some other asset class into a long stay market for the mass market. As you know, there are a lot of younger executives are actually moving from different provinces to tier 1 cities. They definitely couldn't actually afford to buy their own apartments when they first started to work. So there's a huge demand for apartment to lease in the tier 1 cities. So this is definitely a very good sector to get into. The other areas are the technology. As more and more people are using handheld mobile device for payments, for entertainment, for basically everything related to daily life. So there's huge demand for example, for data center, data collections, data transmission. So we will actually look into those sectors as well. So these are all consumer related or really coming from a new consumer behavior and direction, and also relating to technologies as well. So there's ample of opportunities in China, but we just have to follow the trends and pick up the right operating partners and opportunities, and of course have a good local team to execute the business plan.